It's Wednesday, October 27th. I've got some kind of floater going on in the back of my eye. It's not the shape of a cursive L. It's more of several dots with then almost a pattern like in my grandfather's painting. I'm sitting here and I'm watching cloud cover while I'm waiting for my son from school, and this is what they call cumulus clouds right here. And then the ionosphere, I think, is just above that. Again, I wasn't really taught well. It was ninth grade, and it was really confusing and hard for me to hold on to what he taught. I know he was important, and I don't remember his name, but there is texture to the clouds between, and you can see the lights even changing in between for photons on a micron level. But without these cumulus clouds, and they're not, if I had phyllo dough inside of a vacuum and no ions were partically charged inside, the phyllo dough would stay technically rolled out and flat. It would become leaven bread at chemistry experiments inside of a vacuum. But here I have more, it's not leaven, it's more of a phyllo chemistry, even with, because the rolling pin isn't out, they're pulling apart and they're like, I don't know, humans say they're cotton-like or they're fluffy, but it's indicative of different levels and measures of the charges of the particles in a rolling fashion because it's going slowly, but you can see it. This morning also they mentioned something about tachycardic and bradycardic for VTAC or VTAC in a cardiopulmonary like blood pipe kind of a way with pulling charges through for energy systems, because like the human body's kind of like a conduit between an electrically charged dome, sky dome, and then there's some electric charge on the ground, and then there's some static in between. And the human body, if it gets into a dangerous situation, kind of like I feel now, it becomes almost like a mini conduit. But it shouldn't be abused in the way that mine is currently and has been, because it's almost like I'm in such a tachycardic state. It's so lethargic, and the beat is so awful and messed with. Like, I like upbeat, up-tempo, I like exercise, I like being able to pull myself off of the magnetic grid. It's almost like I can feel like if we were talking about a river system with little tributaries, if we're talking about blood pipes, it would be the capillary system off of like you have an artery, an arterial, and then some capillaries. It's almost like in a main function somewhere there's an artery and an arterial somewhere off in the distance, but underneath the surface it's almost like a electric system of capillaries at this point. It's not supposed to be in that it's dispersed all wrong. There's no rhyme or reason for the capillary disbursement of energy displacement at the moment, which is why the conduit being the human body, as I walk through, my heels are feeling the effect of it. My legs are, they call it gravity. If we're going with like a Newton principle of gravity, of why things fall and why they're heavily weighted towards the ground at the moment for strictly that purpose, without getting too technical. The legs get overheated and overweighted towards the ground, and it becomes lift towards the sky dome becomes very difficult. But that's because there's so many there's so much radio airwaves going through the center between Sky Dome and between ground level. All this in between is like a whole soup unto itself. It's like it's Z-E and then Zupa. But that's where I said, like, it's no longer pixels. If, like, in the center, if it's supposed to be square pixels, and that safety feature in the center, or in the middle ground, between Sky Dome and ground feature, they're turning it into round ions, and then they're separating them and counting static charge. I mean, it's really painful to have to be the conduit in between, which is the witness to this, without somewhere to notify that it's not being handled properly, not for health, safety, and welfare. Star 1978, Star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxies, broken.